That's Steve Bradford. Happy to have you, man. We did a little research. You know, Randy and I didn't do a lot of homework in high school. We got clip notes and cheated, but I did a little homework, man. So you were representing my neighborhood, Hawthorne, Del Air, Gardena.
Exactly where it is.
So where you grew up, I'm not gonna say the name of the fellas over there, but that was on the other side of El Segundo. You and I both know. But if you were an athlete, you could go over to Raleigh Park and play.
Exactly.
So you went to Perchie, and then you went to Henry Clay, which was my neighborhood junior high. I went to Audubon because Audubon had the prettier girls. But and then you went to Gardena.
Amen.
So talk about growing up in Gardena.
Hey, it was a unique experience. My family was the first African-American family on Perchie. So we moved in 1969. So
Okay.
we experienced white flight in living color, in real time. But it created a unique opportunity for me to live in a diverse neighborhood and experience different cultures and things of that nature, and challenge myself and expand upon what I was used to or thought. And so I appreciated it so much so that it led me to go into public office. I ran for city council in the city of Gardena, became the first African-American elected to that city council. And I still live there today.
Okay, awesome. And then you went, I read you went to San Diego State, and then you finished at my alma mater, Cal State Dominguez.
Correct.
Where did you finish at Dominguez?
Did I finish?
Sound like me.
83.
83. Okay, so a little bit before me. I don't know if you've been there recently, man. That school has grown exponentially since since I finished in 1991, and since you finished. Have you had a chance to go back at all?
Only to the point of getting them $85 million over the last 2 years.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Also serving on the Dimely Institute on the campus.
I love that.
I'm on the campus probably 2 or 3 times a quarter.
Okay.
No, I'm very much connected to Cal State Dominguez Hills.
And that's the most diverse state university in the state of California.
Without a doubt.
That's great.
Wow.
So I'm glad. Yeah, you did. So what led you to public office? What made you want to do that? And what are the different roles you had?
Probably insanity, but really, when I went to San Diego State, I was a biology major. I had every intention of being a doctor. That's all I knew. My mother was a retired nurse. I grew up in a medical household, so that's what I wanted to do. And after 3 years at San Diego State, I looked at my GPA and realized I wasn't going to nobody's medical school unless I repeated a whole lot of classes. I wasn't willing to do that. Moved back home and enrolled at Cal State Dominguez Hills. Changed my major to poli-sci, but I met an individual that we all should know in the state of California, across this nation, by the name of Merv Dimely. If you don't know Merv Dimely, was the former assemblyman in the state of California, the first black senator in California, the only black lieutenant governor we ever had, and a U.S. congressperson as well. So, I mean, he's an institution. That's why we have the Dimely Institute at Cal State Dominguez Hills. So it was he that not necessarily encouraged me to run for office, but get involved in my community. And it was through his encouragement, his mentorship, that I start working on and volunteering on campaigns and things of that nature, and it led to where I am today.
So city council, and then what were the roles you had after that? After being, local, city government, what did you do after that?
I went to the state assembly. I served just 5.5 years. I won a special election in 2009, and I served in the assembly till 2014 when I was termed out. And then I had a 2-year hiatus, and in 2016, I became one of only 2 black senators in the state of California. And my term just ended in December.
Okay. So what are you doing now? What are you looking for? Are you going to run for senator again? What is
I'm termed out of Senate. Up until 3 weeks ago, I was running for lieutenant governor. And I was doing that because, one, it's an important job. It's not a glamorous job. It has no power, but everybody hears the title. But it was because of my exposure to the job through Merv Dimely, who was, like I say, the only African-American lieutenant governor. As of 3 weeks ago, I changed. I was asked to consider insurance commissioner, and I announced 3 weeks ago I'm running for insurance commissioner, which is clearly the toughest job in the state of California right now, and probably in the nation, based on our volatile insurance market right now and all that happens with wildfires, earthquakes. You have to regulate the industry. You're going to have to bring not only the consumers to the table, you're going to have to bring the insurance industry to the table, the contractors, the body shops, the lawyers. As you drive down the freeway nowadays, what do you see? What's the number one billboard you see? Trial lawyers, consumer attorneys who are suing somebody. So you have to do that. You're going to have to bring together the Ubers and the Lyfts too, because they carry a enormous insurance policies that's far different than anybody else. So it's going to require somebody to be able to bring all those folks together, sit down in a room and have grown-up conversations and say, hey, Your rates might have to go up, but at the same time, you might have to cut them in these areas for consumers to afford it, because it makes no sense, if you can't afford insurance, you can't buy a house in California.
That's true. Let's talk about NIL. So what was your role in this whole name, image, likeness? What was your role in that?
I was a joint author, myself and Nancy Skinner, my colleague from Berkeley. We authored the bill. A lot of folks don't realize a black guy from Gardena and a white woman from Berkeley authored the bill that revolutionized college sports. But it was after a long discussion and debate and growing up with friends who played college sports and professional sports, understanding those challenges. I grew up playing sports. I coached for 19 years before I went to the legislature, baseball and football. Knew plenty of athletes that went on to college, and I knew the struggles that athletes were having. Just because you're on a scholarship doesn't mean all your expenses are taken care of. And a lot of people believe that. So after meeting with tons of folks and being convinced to do this bill, because I originally wasn't sold on it because we weren't the first to try it. Like we say in the legislature, ain't nothing new. You just do it again. So, and meeting with Ramogi, who started the National Collegiate Players Association. He was a sponsor of the bill. It helped us bring all the data, bringing all these athletes together. And we just said, hey, let's go for it. We did.
And it's kind of blown up now. You have all these athletes, they're negotiating contracts. They have agents. They're in high school signing endorsement deals.
Yes, sir.
It's blown up, man. You got high school kids getting endorsements. Jason Crow out of Inglewood High School, Jason Crow Jr., all the top players are doing it now, man. It's good. They should share the revenue, because for years, you got a lot of college athletes over here. You were getting a scholarship, you were getting a stipend. You didn't have money to eat on Sunday night. They fed you Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. You better have $5 to get pizza. Now guys are, negotiating $2 million, $3 million. The quarterback at Michigan, Underwood, got $10 million.
Ooh.
So, but you bringing in money. The big house is getting 108,000 people every game.
Right.
When the Fab Five was at Michigan, their jerseys were selling and they weren't getting any money. They weren't getting any money legally.
Well, really, it's the athlete themselves. Now they're trying to tweak it where the universities now are controlling the money. And that's not what we initially wanted to build. We don't want it. But as you said, many of these college athletes, they think just because you're on scholarship, all your expenses are paid for. And as far as thing from the truth, I went to San Diego State with plenty of athletes that I loaned them money. I was a club promoter during my time in college. So I always had money in my pocket.
Okay.
At the same time, these coaches are now making millions of dollars flying around the country in private jets, coming to recruit these kids. But if these kids had to go home for Christmas or emergency, they couldn't get on that same private jet and get home. Can't do that. And like you said, couldn't sign their own name on their own jersey to make any money. But let's say if you were on a scholarship and you were a computer science major, or you were a music major, or you were a film major and you were on scholarship, and you produced a film like John Singleton did at USC, you can monetize that. If you're a music major and you produced a record, you can monetize that. But as an athlete, you can monetize. So we had to level the playing field.
That's good. I think,
y'all made it make sense. Y'all made it make sense.
Anything else you want to share about NIL?
NIL, I mean, it's the future, and also who's benefiting. Also, what led me to do it was women. The ladies are now, because we know it's very few pro opportunities for women in sports outside of basketball and tennis and maybe volleyball. It's no opportunity. So these young ladies are now making money, taking advantage of it. So I'm excited about that as well. That was one of the biggest motivators for me to do it.
They need that.
And now even golfers are getting NIL deals.
That's good.
A lot of young golfers are getting NIL deals too. So
that's good, man. That's good. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
We're proud to have you. And you from the neighborhood, man.
From the neighborhood.
Yeah, from the neighborhood.
And
Holly Park, baby. Good, man.
Go vote. Go vote.
Go vote, baby. NIL insurance.
NIL insurance.
Yeah, episode 41, part 2. This was a pleasure, man. This was, really nice.